Hi, I'm Callie and welcome to Kapowski Reads. And I realised when I was filming the last part of this book, I forgot to film an intro. So, hi, welcome to a reading vlog where I am just going to be blathering about the books that I read / I've already read them. I read a favourite author, a potential new favourite author, and something cozy because we are in the season where I want to just wrap up in a blanket with a hot chocolate and read. That's I'm ready for hibernation right now. So I'm going to share with you what I've read and I hope you enjoy this video. This is my third time trying to start this video. I keep coughing, which is why my eyes are all red, as is probably evidenced by my inability to breathe properly. I went outside today. We were on a mission to get some ideas for Christmas. I know it's maybe a little bit early for some people to be thinking about Christmas, but in this house we celebrate Christmas. Well, I was going to say a week early. I think we're celebrating like 10 days early, just the way that the weeks fall. It's just the easiest way for us to celebrate with everybody we want to see on Christmas Day. We don't make anyone have to make any choices or do any traveling on Christmas Day. We do it early and then we live off of party food for the rest of December. It's kind of brilliant. I love it. It means that we have to have our Christmas presents sorted quite a bit earlier than is standard. So we went to town, got some really good ideas. Couldn't get any of the things that my stepkid wanted. They just didn't have it in stock, but we were able to go online. And for the first time in a wee while, I feel super confident that she's gonna love her gifts because she got to pick them herself. There's not that bit of fear of like, maybe they won't like them. No, like she picked it herself. Picked it, told me the sizes, colours, everything. Then I came home and I sorted out my parents' advent chocolates. I made my parents an advent calendar maybe 5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. And it's little crocheted baubles and a big Santa at the end. So it only fits like chocolate truffles. And when I make somebody an advent calendar, I don't gift you the obligation of then having to fill the advent calendar again. That's part of the gift. That's my job. So I'm feeling kind of accomplished. And then I finished a book. So ding, 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 extra accomplishments. I have finished a little cozy mystery. It's called Baking and Entering by Emma Ainsley. This is one of your small town cozy mysteries, which, you know, it's my kind of comfort genre. This one has a 40-something-year-old woman who has returned, the classic trope, returned to her hometown after a spell away. She's working in a bakery that she inherited and all is going well until she is clearing out the rubbish one day and there's a body in the bin. That body's not well. That body's not alive. And a little investigation ensues. The police are involved. She's not looking into it herself, but she does find herself sort of drawn into the case. This was just a novella. It was pretty short, but it was fun. It was a fun story. I really liked that it wasn't a romance. It was definitely just like cozy mystery. And I really liked having a main character trying to sort of get back on her feet after a marriage separation. And I really liked having her learn to find her place in her old home once again. I really liked that. The rekindling of old friendships. It was really nice. It was really cozy and I really liked the new friendships that she made. So our main character Maggie kind of befriended this, let's say, rough around the edges Ruby, but I feel like she needed a Ruby in her life. She needed somebody to be a little bit more aggressive, like a kind of black cat energy to her golden retriever energy. It was needed. And I think that this is the start of a series and I feel going forward, Ruby and Maggie are just going to bring the best out in each other and I think I'm going to love it. This was really short though, so not a huge amount of time for character development or atmosphere building, but I definitely got the small town vibes. That sort of everybody knows everybody else's business, everybody knows like who's got beef with who, and I really covet that, even though I'm from a small town and I feel like I didn't really know a great deal of business that wasn't my own. This was a really enjoyable read. It was short, it was sweet, it was a good mystery. I definitely was kind of kept guessing. I didn't guess who did it. Tick. Excellent mark for me when it comes to a mystery. I don't want to be right. Let me be wrong. And I really like the characters. I would like to get to know them a little bit better, but I think that's going to happen over the series. And I had a good time with it. It's such a good kind of cozy start to my reading week. When I was out, I actually forgot to say this. We went to pick up some food and stuff for the house, and I found this weird drink. Maybe it's not weird, but maybe it's new. Oreo Diet Coke. What is that? I've never heard of this. I love Oreos. I don't love Diet Coke. I'm that annoying person that's like, yeah, I'll take Pepsi. Do you have Diet Pepsi? Please. Actually, I'll prefer a Pepsi Max if I can be, you know, demanding. So I thought I would try this to see if it's nice. I don't know. It smells like Diet Coke. It does not smell like Oreos. Okay, cheers. Oh no, no, oh, no. Oh, don't try this. This is, oh, no. Oh, yes, it does taste like an Oreo and Diet Coke. It's deeply unpleasant. No, I would describe this as if you had a Diet Coke and you dipped an Oreo inside it and left it. It's deeply unpleasant. At first you'll be tricked into thinking it's like a vanilla Diet Coke. Delicious. But it's not. Oh, nope. No, thank you. I'm going to see if I can offload this to somebody else in my house because I don't want to drink it. What a waste of £1 in this economy. That's even more upsetting. Anyway, I'm gonna go and I will come back with updates of my next read, and I'm hoping I can keep the cozy vibes going because I'm kind of loving this time of year where it's dark at 4 o'clock and I can just have all the lights on, and I've got a candle. Why am I ducking? You can't see it, but there's a candle up here, and I've got all the lamps on, I've got a cozy jumper, I've got my slippers on. I'm living my best life right now. I will be back with book updates in a little bit. Today was my day in the office, evidenced by my office, the one outfit I wear to the office. And town is getting ready for the Christmas market. We have a winter market in it's not quite the city centre, it's part, like the start of the city centre. So I got to start my day with a massive bus redirection, none of which was on any of the websites. So the joy of a 7 a.m. detour. But it meant that I got to enjoy the Christmas decorations in the shopping centre super early before it opened, and then I got to go and sit and read a little bit of my book in the coffee shop before I went to work. And I finished The Seventh Veil of Salome. This is, I think I said this is the 13th book that I've read by this author, because it is. But then there was a moment where I thought it was the 14th, but Goodreads was doing something weird where it's duplicating Untamed Shore. Make me count it twice. This is definitely my 13th book. And I feel like it was perhaps unlucky for me, but hear me out. I am not the biggest fan of historical fiction. I would say that historical fiction is my least favourite genre. I generally won't gravitate towards it unless it's by an author I love, or if it's maybe got some magical realism. If it's got magical realism or anything sort of supernatural, I'm gonna have a great time with that. But if it's just straight historical fiction, no sort of whimsy or like weirdness, then it's not something I tend to pick up. So let that be known before I tell you about this book, because if you enjoy historical fiction, you could probably have a much better time with this than I did. So let that be known, okay? I am not the expert here on historical fiction. I have read a few that I really do like though, but those are few and far between. This book is about, it's kind of twofold. It is about the dance of Salome, probably most famous for like the Seven Veils. It's a biblical story where a young woman performed a dance for her uncle slash stepfather, and in return, this is a spoiler, but it's a spoiler for something in the Bible, so I think it's okay. Spoiler warning anyway. Salome, after doing the dance, is promised a sort of wish, like she can make a request and it will be granted as gratitude for the dance, and she asks for the head of John the Baptist on a platter. And the other part of the story is a film is being made, The Seventh Veil of Salome, and it is inspired by the story of Salome in the Bible. We have an up-and-coming starlet called Vera, who is from Mexico. She was discovered and she has been cast to play Salome, our misunderstood heroine of the story. We also have Nancy, who is, I mean, Nancy thinks of herself as Vera's rival, but I don't think Vera knows who Nancy is. And the book sort of focuses on these three women and how they kind of are involved in the same kind of overlapping story. What I really enjoyed about this book was I liked the writing style. Silvia Moreno Garcia is, I mean, she has so many books. You don't need me to tell you that she is a fantastic writer, but I'm gonna tell you anyway, she is a fantastic writer. And she really draws you into this world. So our non-biblical part of this book, our non-biblical story part of this book is set in 1950s Hollywood. So all the glitz and the glamour, but we also get to see the sort of seedy underbelly of Hollywood and the way that female actors were treated as kind of, well, not even kind of being disposable and being very easily replaced. And the sort of way that our character like Nancy working their butt off, trying really hard to make a career for themselves, make a name. And then you have a person like Vera who's just discovered, and the jealousy that Nancy experienced of seeing somebody get a role that they feel was theirs. So I really enjoyed that sort of jealousy aspect. I thought that was really interesting. I really liked Vera getting to discover what Hollywood was like and see, you know, it's not all glitz and glamour, that you can't really trust everybody. And I really enjoyed her relationships with her sort of her friends, her buddies. I really liked them. She had this really fun group of exciting and interesting actors who most of them were also minorities, and so they were all experiencing quite a similar treatment to each other, and I felt that that was really important that that was brought up in this book. I enjoyed the way that Salome's story was very much reflected in Vera's story of basically being painted as this femme fatale, as this little vixen, when they were being manipulated and they were being exploited, and they are not the villain in the piece, but they are looked upon as being villainous, as being sneaky, and they weren't. They were just innocent women just trying to get by. I didn't like Nancy as a character, but I don't think we were meant to at all. Nancy was very vindictive, I mean, she was jealous, and jealousy is such a natural emotion. I'm not gonna hate on somebody for being jealous, but she was cruel with her jealousy. And that's where you cross the line. It's fine to be jealous, it's not fine to be cruel. And she was just so full of hate towards Vera, who had done nothing wrong. Vera was offered a job. That's it. Be angry at the people who didn't offer you a job, but also maybe have that sort of realization of perhaps you're not the best person for that job. Maybe. The Nancy chapters got a little tiresome, just hearing her be so mean and hurtful towards somebody who she didn't know. And she was also horrible to a lot of people. Very horrible to the men in her life, who actually treated her quite well. Compared to the way lots of people were treating people in this book, she had found some pretty nice guys and they cared about her, but she just wanted more, and I feel she was never going to be satisfied. What I didn't enjoy about this book was the sheer volume of perspectives. So we had Vera, we had Nancy, we had Salome. Absolutely fine. They're the stories that were being shared in this book, but there were so many other perspectives. There were all of these different people who were in the film. There was a random chapter from a guy in the Salome Times, and it just felt a little easy to get lost, and I found myself sort of wondering, who is this person? Who are you? Because some of the people never got brought up again. I enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed the characters, even though I didn't like some of them. But I feel like historical fiction, still not really my thing, but I'm glad I tried it. And Silvia Moreno Garcia remains a firm favourite author of mine. But this book is probably my least favourite of her books. If you want to know my favourite books by Silvia Moreno Garcia, I will share those. So there is The Beautiful Ones, which I have on ebook, which I will never stop talking about, and that is historical fiction, but there's magical realism in it, and I'm all over that. I also have This Strange Way of Dying, which is a short story collection, and Gods of Jade and Shadow, which was the first book I ever read by this author, and it remains a joyful paperback, but also one of my favourite books ever. So I still love this author, but historical fiction, I tried it. I went in with an open mind and an open heart, and it just wasn't for me. But if you enjoy historical fiction, then I think you might like this one. It just wasn't for me. But that is another one of my pre-orders for this year read. I think I've only got 2 that I haven't read, and I kind of want to get a shimmy on with those so that I can have read all of my pre-orders that I received, and therefore I've read all of my new books for this year. That's my goal. I will return back in a wee bit with an update of my next book, which, spoiler, I'm loving it so far. Ding ding ding. I decided there's a bell for this. I have a new favourite author. I have a new auto-buy author. I have finished reading, I started reading it and I finished reading Vagabond by Anna Dorn. I have read somewhat recently 2 previous books by this author. 5 stars were thrown at each of them. And my rule is that if I give an author 3 5-star ratings, they become an auto-buy author. Obviously, there's some nuance there where if I read 8 of their books and gave, 5 1-stars, they're not going to be an auto-buy. But if you're, getting good ratings and 3 5s, join my little gang. We don't have jean jackets yet, but we will. So I'm delighted to be adding Anna Dorn to this list. Vagabond, I read on audiobook, and I highly recommend the audiobook of this. It was spectacular. I kept giggling. This is about a lawyer called Prue, aka Vagabond. She is a sort of lawyer by day, wannabe rapper by night. Prue meets a music producer who introduces her to his kingdom, which is kind of like a collective of musicians, and they work together on this song. And Prue is kind of thrust into the limelight and she starts getting a little bit of fame. And this is almost like a kind of cautionary tale of be careful what you wish for. Prue starts the book by repeatedly saying that she is thriving. And that was the moment that I knew I was going to love Prue. Because I love when people are like thriving, like 30, flirty and thriving. Which she was, because she was also 30. And she was flirty. Prue makes a number of interesting life choices, including coming off of her medication, cold turkey, and sort of replacing her medication with non-prescription substances, partying, and hanging out with her clients, which I don't think you're allowed to do. But I don't know. I'm not a lawyer in the US. I don't know their rules. I'm not a lawyer here. I don't know our lawyer rules either. I thought this book was spectacular. I really enjoyed sort of seeing, and this will sound harsh, Prue's slow descent from like what on paper seems like having the perfect life, excellent career, loving partner, financially comfortable, and kind of having doors open for her to sort of chaos. This book was chaotic. I feel this book will not be for everyone. This will be a very Marmite book because it is very much what I feel is maybe vibes over substance. That's not to say that the substance was lacking, but I would say that the vibes of this book were what made me love it. It was chaotic. It was entertaining. It was exciting and it was invigorating. Like I didn't want to stop reading this book, and sometimes I had to, because I could not sit and listen to an audiobook like all day. I had things to do. But I absolutely enjoyed every single moment that I was listening to this book. It was a joy. Like, I sometimes put audiobooks on and then go and do housework and stuff, boring things. But I just found myself sitting, absorbing this book. I was like, nope, I'm doing nothing but listening to this. It was a joy. I feel that the characters, while perhaps being a little bit dramatic, at times felt really realistic. They felt quite gritty, they felt raw, and they felt flawed. And I felt like you could pluck every character out of this book and they would just, you know, you would see them in the real world and be like, yep, that seems like a real person. And I loved that. And I really just loved that every single person in this book brought the chaos. Like, I was promised chaos and I was delivered chaos. I got what I wanted. In addition to this book being utterly unhinged in the most entertaining way, it did tackle some real life aspects, which I thought was really cleverly done. Like, we touch upon Prue and her addiction, and we touch upon Prue and the way that she is with people, that she is desperately lonely, but she pushes people away. Why is that, Prue? And Prue got to kind of maybe learn a little bit more about herself, and we got to learn more about her too. And I feel like this book just, it didn't need to add that. It didn't need to add those real life, hey, what about this moment? It didn't need that. But I thought it was so good that it gave that of like, this isn't all just, you know, jokes and larks. Here's some real stuff going on. And I very much appreciated it. I know that some people will hate this book because it's not likable characters. It's a world that I know nothing about. I know nothing about, you know, the music star party life. No, I don't know anything about that. But I thought it was really interesting to sort of be a little fly on the wall and see what was going on. And it was very, very glamorous, but also not glamorous. This book was very fun, and I wanted fun. I wanted something to kind of escape into, and this was a perfect book to escape into and just enjoy a wild ride from the safety of my own home where I'm very loved and feel very safe. I really love the way that this was set in the same universe as the other Anna Dorn books that I have read, Perfume and Pain and Exalted. And so they're all set in LA, and there's a little bit of sort of overlap between characters. So I really liked being able to see characters that I had read about in other books. It's not a series, but it's kind of a little nod of like, I know that guy, I know them. Little sort of nods towards horoscopes, which is sort of a nice kind of common thread throughout all of this author's works I have found so far. I would like to go back and read this book and then read her other books in almost like in order, so that I can get like a full grasp of every single person mentioned in all of her books, because I think that would be really interesting, and I fear I would end up being one of those people with like string tying photos of people together, even though I don't have photos because they're characters in books. I wish that this author's books were films or TV series, because I think that they would be kind of like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where it's entertaining but the characters are awful and the situations are chaotic and bizarre, but it's still entertaining and it's still silly, but it still sometimes carries some real life issues that make you think. I don't know. I think that would be so interesting, and maybe that will happen for this author. That would be quite nice. I continue to absolutely adore reading about unhinged narcissists, I believe the term that I kept seeing in the reviews was. And I'm so happy to introduce this author to my auto-buy author list. I need to find more authors who write nice, light, chaotic fiction, because I want it. I want it all. Let me know if you've read any of these books and if you have enjoyed any of them. I've had a great time this week and I've had fun reading all of my books. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me ramble. Bye!